All right, welcome to Under the Black Light with Governor Wildstar. We are back for another session, and this time I have my brother, Mr. Jai on the line. I'm going to be introducing him to you here in just a moment. I just want to briefly again talk about the premise of the show and its platform. I am inviting and opening these discussions to everyone, and am thankful for everyone that is out there listening, whether you are black, white, Spanish, Asian, whatever you may be. I appreciate you for listening, and I thank you for being here. Although, again, however, if I may say, I am black, and my guests will be black. And what we will be discussing will be coming from a black perspective involving certain topics that black people discuss amongst themselves and black culture, etc. So please do not be offended or think that you're being excluded here by these conversations. If anything, like I said, we are thankful for you being here and being part of this forum. Just look at it as being that way. I mean, it's unfortunate that we feel like things black oriented has to be delegated to in something that is black. Like if this was on BET, it would be okay. But because we're putting it out there for everybody, it's catching a lot of slack because it's pro black. So, again, I just want to thank everybody out there for listening and welcome my guest, Mr. Jai on the line. Say what's up to the people. What's up? What's up?
Hey, notice the swarm of locusts floated with one motive. The children, they go and ghosted. They tell me there's two parties. I say the house haunted. Con artists outsmarted by ghouls and the goblins. The walking dead voted. Few were awakened. A million on fire. The rest were just thinking. You say that you voted. Fail to notice children. Only saw two villains. You painted your own ceiling. Hey, how's that go?
Mm, mm.
Since I was young, I had to stop and go and write a song about it. What used to be right is now so wrong. Stuck in the mud. Well, we be trying to get up out it. What's really
Tell him, Jaja. I mean, yeah, this brother right here, he's an MC. I was gonna tell him that, you know what I'm saying? But hey, if you want to walk him right into it, I appreciate it. Shit, and thank you for the blessing. What's that?
I said, let it go, man.
Yeah, you're
Don't
right
do
about
it,
that.
man.
Yeah, you gotta let it go, man. So hey, I appreciate it, and yes, this brother right here, he is an MC, and he is out there putting music out there with me, and I appreciate that of you for joining me on the microphone, on the microphone then and now. You know what I'm saying? However we do our thing, I just appreciate you being a part of my life, and I thank you for being here and being part of this discussion as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that you yourself, being a brother, and being a different type of brother has dealt with your own type of discrimination yourself, I'm sure, right?
Right.
So, what type of discrimination have you yourself faced, Jai, as a black man?
Shit, as a black man in this world alone coming out. What's that new Trevor Noah book called? Born to Sin? Born against the law? Born against something.
Hmm. Okay.
And so, hey, I mean, I came up in a world that was, it started off in West Covina, you know what I mean? And I started with Hispanic, and I moved out to Orange County. And to move out to Orange County, you were engulfed with many white folks, many eyes of judgment. And you learn to move. How hoes say that, you learn to move in a crowd full of vultures, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You make friends, and you learn to roll with the punches, and you learn how to swing back. And I mean, when it started off, I went to elementary school out here, and Orange County, Huntington Beach. And walking to school became an interesting thing as I got into the older ages. And eventually I was in daycare early in the morning because walking to school was interesting. We'll say that for now. When I went to daycare, there was a day when we got there and we went outside, and on the wall it said "niggas go home."
Ooh.
Like in big black letters. I'm talking about this is at elementary school.
Wow.
Chill. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Who wasn't thinking about the rest of the children that are going to see this, or maybe they want the other children to think like that.
Of course they did.
So when the police came, they came to, maybe address a hate crime or came to observe the situation and do something about it. The long story short, they gave us the chemicals, me and my sister, to scrub it off.
Wow.
And we scrubbed it off.
Are you kidding me?
Didn't see that.
They made you guys clean it up?
I don't know if they made me do that shit.
Well, just whatever the case. I mean, the fact that, it's a racist slur, an epithet being written on the wall, and you are designated to have to clean it up? I mean, that's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? That's a bit of abuse. You know what I'm saying?
And what I was thinking at that moment, because I was educated properly to deal with situations of hatred in any form, bigotry, and I didn't want that to be spread, because hate spreads. It's contagious. It's toxic, and it spreads like wildfire, man. Like, no pun intended.
Right.
Man, but it spreads quick.
It really does. And that's the awful part about hate is, it has the tendency to kind of just pick up and run with it, and it's unfortunate that love doesn't have that same type of response. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you have to woo people into being loved or accepting love or being loving. But when it comes to hatred, they're so open to it. They're ready to jump on the bandwagon quicker than ever. And I mean, just like I said, even with the previous video that I put up, I don't know where people started and ended with what was said, but whatever I said, the minute I said black, they were like, whoa, and then that's when the hatred came out. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that, of course, that this is being expressed to me, but what's funny is, again, being black, I have to assume that those people are not black. They got to be white or something other than, because it's like, those people don't realize being black and living in the European world, everything else is white. It's pro-white. It's white only. If you look at every movie that you see out, any major movie that you come out, everybody in the movie is white, predominantly, except for some side character or whatever. You look at every TV show, it's predominantly white people. You look at every magazine or whatever the case may be, it's predominantly white. So we live in a dominated world by white people. So to say something is, I guess, geared towards black people or the black audience or the Spanish audience or the Asian audience, whatever the case may be, is wrong for people to say that that's, ostracizing or wrong, when again, the rest of everything else is against that. So, how do you feel about that? I mean, the perspective of our world being, huh?
There's been a certain tension when it comes to when we say black, because to be black is to be able to withstand the struggle at the highest level.
Right.
When you withstand the struggle and you still exist, everything that we've been put through, the energy behind that is tense. It's extreme. It doesn't need to be perceived like that, but it is perceived like that. And if you are to ever cure racism, since it exists, but it shouldn't be acknowledged it shouldn't be acknowledged at all, because the roots of it is evil. But since race exists and racism exists, the cure for that is to put your culture aside, put your ego aside and your culture aside, to learn and be honest about your ignorance, so you could learn how to learn.
Right.
If I go from the beginning of the show, I told you I grew up with Hispanic, white folks. Of course, my family, they Nubians. You know what I mean? So, like, if we all figure out how to go to these different houses like I did as a child, and I could put my culture to the side for a minute and learn what this culture is about, I'm being honest about my ignorance, and I'm learning what this culture is about. So when they come over to my house, they can put their culture to the side and their ego to the side, and they can be honest about their ignorance, and they won't come off like they're responding through racism, through prejudice. Because when you come towards a black folk and you are not accustomed to their culture, the response of prejudice is to be over extreme with your energy if you're offended in the slightest form. Where usually if the person from your same culture would come to you, you learn how to be mellow back. You could respond with a smirk. You can respond with low energy or high energy of love.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to coexist within a melting pot of multiple cultures, like Haile Selassie wanted, like Martin Luther King Jr. wanted.
Yeah.
You got to be able to put your culture to the side for a minute and share the process of learning of another culture. It's a beautiful thing once you learn that art right there.
Exactly. And I share that same sentiment because I grew up in a very diverse community or way or heart as well. You know, everybody around me was from different walks of life. And I was always the type of brother that didn't really care what your skin of your color or color of your skin was, but more so what the energy of your heart was putting out there. And I mean, I've learned from people from every type of culture or age or sex. You know, it doesn't matter, or sexual orientation, just all different types of people. And it's sad that people can't put aside those simple little prejudices to learn from each other. And I mean, that again makes us cultured as people. You know, I think that kind of what makes black people great is we've always just have been known to be very inviting and open and welcome, you know, to people of other faiths. I even just saw a documentary where, what is it, back in World War II, you know, one of the black colleges, I guess, like Harvard and stuff like that, were the first colleges in this country to accept Jewish teachers. And that's because at that time, it was very anti-Semitic, you know what I'm saying? They were looked at as potential spies, et cetera, et cetera. So there are reasons why those people were targeted and left out in the streets, and black people let them in. And I mean, I have friends that are of different races. I've been with women of different races, and I mean, even you yourself, you have a partner that you're with, your woman who is of a different race that is not black, right?
Yeah. And man, I'm a mark myself, you know what I mean?
Hey, we all must shit. Really, if you look at the roots of it all, shit, none of us are 100% African, and if you are, then hey, more power to you. I mean, but really, naturally, if you look at the genetics of it all, we are all from Africa. We all have African roots, and just because the color of our skin has changed over time and the development of shouldn't change our hearts as people. We should still be inviting and open to that. So, it's sad that we can't just celebrate being unified. And speaking of celebrations, happy birthday to you, brother. I know you just celebrated a birthday this week, so I want to say happy birthday to you. For sure. Hey, I don't know how old you are. I really don't care because really I'm not the.
I turned that big 3-1, man.
What? All right.
The whole week has been off the hook.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool.
man, if 31 the whole year is like this, it's going to be one epic year, man.
That's cool. Yes, sir. I'll definitely do my best to make sure that play my part to make sure that it is. And yeah, man, happy birthday to you. And I mean, I got to tell you, even upon meeting you, I didn't know what your age was. I just knew that by spirit you were very youthful, very mature, very what is it, esteemed, and you are very wise in your nature. And I want to talk a little bit more about that because with you being youthful in age and being wise in spirit, how is it being that type of a brother? You know what I'm saying? Existing in this world that we live in, this America.
Well, yeah, man, my spiritual guidance is Gil Scott Heron, man.
All right.
Dr. Kuna West. So, when it comes to being youthful and having an old soul, I appreciate it because the energy is there. I've been listening to what Mumia had to say all my life, and I know that his energy is there. And you got, and if he was free, what would he do? And man, you gotta look at these folks and what would they do if they were still alive? What would they do if they were free? Like you gotta look at it like either like time is not relative at all or time is short.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I believe that time is short when you're alive, no matter how long you live, and you got to fill this world up with whatever you got to express, man. And if it's love, man, do that at 100 miles an hour. And I'm telling you, you will do the best for this world because the world could be a lonely place, the world could be a depressing place, but when you shine brighter than anything else in the room, man, I'm telling you, you make sure that those other people feel that energy. You can go to a concert with hundreds of people in there, and you can see that there's a person in there that has the highest energy, and that energy can spread joy within the whole concert, and the band could be whack.
Right. You're right about that. That.
Like you gotta live life in the form that it's a musical, and you're meant to dance to that. Man, that's what Alan Watts told me, and that right there, the balance, like Taoism, man, that the balance is you gotta apply both of those and use your frequencies to target those other energies, and it makes its own pathway. And man, when it comes to my old soul and my youthfulness, I definitely try to. I wonder how long that's gonna last with my mindset of thinking that time is short.
Hey, I would say you living it up to its fullest. I mean, even just the little bit of knowledge that you dropped here, and a little bit that you said is gonna send people on the fritz. Because I mean, Talking to you, I learned a lot, and I gotta admit that even when we first met, um, uh, when we first met, you were talking about the Republic by Plato. You know what I'm saying? And you put me on point with that book because I hadn't ever read it before, and you telling me that you weren't really too much into politics, but then dropping that about that book, kind of showed me a lot about the perspective of how one can look at the structure of the world that we live in, without really being political per se or being involved in politics. You can still want to know how the world around you should operate or could operate. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to different ways for that. So for you to recommend, The Republic by Plato of all people, and know about Alan Watts and philosophy and all of that stuff, where did that come from? I mean, I know you're very educated as well, so where did all of this stem from?
Well, that's a really good question right there.
I do my best. I do my best,
That's a really good question because it's important, man. It's important on the level of community and society and how we could look at things and critique and philosophize from the perspective of it. But where did it come from? Shoot, I mean, I know my pops put me on to like reading Malcolm, so I think that when I read Malcolm X, it put me on to philosophy, but I didn't know it was philosophy yet. I just felt that it was what people call deep, profound.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I was into deep and profound songs, like Changes from Tupac, like many Scarface songs, and then I found out that what I'm dabbling in is philosophy when I went into a book by it's about Huey P. Newton. I think it's called Revolutionary Suicide. And within that book, I'm pretty sure it's within that book that it said that he used to sit on the bus stop with the Republic in his hand. And then fast forward, I go to college. I'm studying with Pierre Grimes, man. He's a great professor at a community college, by the way. And this guy is guiding the youth that either they can't afford to go to the universities or they're going to start off with the community college. And he's guiding them in a very powerful way, man. And he went off to the prison. Oh Lord, what was the guy that wrote Soul on Ice? He taught that guy about philosophy too.
What is it called? Soul on Life?
Soul on Ice. So Edward Cleave, yeah. He went out there and taught him philosophy. He went through some courses with him on philosophy. And so I mean it's rooted in the activism of Dr. Martin Luther King on his bit of teaching people about love in general and in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rooted in the activism of and the energy behind Malcolm X. It's rooted in Huey, and to get to all that, I think that if I'm gonna be one of the few black folks within my community, I better be sharp, man.
Right. And I think it's very important that, our black community reflects the same type of energy, And that definitely is one of the things that we need to start developing more is our philosophy of life that's missing, the culture, so to speak, or just, if anything, more so just a conversation, because it's even just hard to talk about these things without it being under some dogmatic perspective, whether it be a religious one, or a prejudiced one, just whatever the case may be. Because there's prejudiced black people too. We know this, and don't get it twisted. But it's people out there that are extremely prejudiced when it comes to other races that are not black, and I'm not one of those people. And
Racism should not be racism. You know what I mean?
What'd you say?
Like I said, the response to racism shouldn't be countered with racism.
Precisely.
You know what I mean?
You're right about that, and even how we met. If we could touch on that a little bit, because how we met was on the foundation of race, and we actually met at a protest against police brutality, where a young Latino male was beat by police by what was it, Orange County? Or no, Anaheim police, right? Yeah,
It's something like that. Santa Ana, close to Santa Ana. I think it was on the outskirts of Santa Ana.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of them, one of them de facto agent stations. Anyway, so these rogue enemies of state have again offended and abused one of our people of the state, and we went out there. My wife and I went out there to join others in this protest, and yeah, it was some Native American cats there, I think, or something like that, and some Mexicans out there, and a whole lot of other people. But yeah, they were all protesting, and me and this one cat got into an argument over the election. And this video is out there on YouTube. If anybody want to see it, check out my channel, Governor Wildstar, on YouTube. All that good stuff. Anyway, so I had this exchange with this brother, and my brother Jaja was there, and he had heard it all, and we started having a conversation, and that conversation just translated and kind of grew into this budding friendship that where we have now, to where he's been over my house and had dinner with me and my wife, and we've recorded music together. And what'd you say?
I said doomsday.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just more to come. So yeah, what made you even come out that day to want to get involved?
Man, how did I end up going out there? I think I was at a protest before that, and then when it goes down in Orange County, man, I appreciate it when people respond, and I appreciate it further when people are ahead of schedule. You know what I mean? When they make the hater respond, because that makes sure that the lovers are in control. But I don't know how I got out there. I know, man. I seen that, and I got in the car and whipped out there, and found out that I had my friend out there, and I think I was in Long Beach before that with another protest against police brutality, man. But honestly, when it comes to that police protesting, man, yeah, we out there, but are we getting justice from being on the street? We're definitely drawing attention to it, and that's important. But you just seen that Jeff Sessions got in, and Coretta Scott didn't want him in like 1987 or something, and now he was too racist to be a federal judge, but he's not too racist to be our attorney general. So I think that these protests aren't hard enough because we've fallen into a spot where it says
It don't work.
that they're going to have their last cry.
Exactly. It don't work. And even when we were out there, it's like despite all the blood stains, on the street, nobody gives a damn. We wipe it up and we prepare it for another one. And it's like that's customary of America, to clean up its bloodstains and act like if you don't put it under the black light, that you won't be exposed for what it is. So, yeah, and it's like even when we were talking, that's kind of how things started with this argument was I was telling people the way you want to end police brutality is take over the police, take over this organization that's supposed to protect and serve you. And I was talking to you about what were we talking about? Was it jury nullification? No, we were talking about the common law jury, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so and we started to touch on that and how we the people can take over and take the power of the state of authority into our own hands. And if we don't like these officials, we can fire them. It's that simple. They're on our payroll, and we're the boss, but we're being told that we're the servant, so we act as if, we act accordingly. And when me and you started talking about this, we also started to touch a little bit on about Black Lives Matter, and its involvement and how both you and I felt like
Some actual politics, man.
yeah, semantic politics, because it's not really involved to do anything that we want to have done. It's more just hooping and hollering and screaming, more fuss and folly. And
They're out there getting their exercise in, man.
exactly. And shit, I get my exercise in weekly. I don't want to get it in like that. So, yeah, it's sad because again, I feel like black people are kind of being hoodwinked by Black Lives Matter, and I would ask you this because I don't want to infer anything, but how do you feel about Black Lives Matter?
Honestly, I think that first of all, the slogan is already so controversial that you can't get your point across to the other side of cultures. But other than that, the slogan is correct. My issues with it are that when it comes to influence on parties and politics and chairs and local politics, are you involved? And shout out to everybody that's doing their job with community control over the police, like Kiana. She out there in LA doing her thing, and anybody that's about community control over the police. Just what you said, man, is when you said you could hire and fire these police officers, man, that's a major key right there. And I don't know how else to put it, but if you're gonna be Black Lives Matters, which I've seen some activists within the Black Lives Matter movement, and I appreciate what you're doing. But just as I said, that other people got to put their culture aside, you got to tell these people that they must put their culture aside to learn why a black life does matter.
Right.
That you're stuck within the realm of that conversation with that slogan.
Right.
That's why it's so hard to get into any other phrase. Right now, we're getting paid to die. Like, these families are getting millions of dollars sometimes to have a slain family member.
Right.
You get choked out in New York for selling some loose cigarettes and you die, and your family doesn't get the justice of the police officer.
Right.
Are you like, if we kill the police officer, if we kill the police dog, we would get that justice.
Exactly.
That dog would get that justice. That dog would get a proper burial. That we would lose all freedom.
Yeah, it's a payoff, man.
The occupation within America, your job title, means more than being a civilian and being a family member.
Yeah, and it's sad because it's like America has no problem with blood money being thrown at the problem. And that is exactly the problem. And a lot of black people are saying that. It's like the killing is what needs to stop. The family can get a paycheck all day. That ain't changing it for none of the rest of us. And it's sad because it's not just black people that are receiving these payoffs for their children being killed off. It's white people too. Just look at Kelly Thomas and his family. You know, despite all of the hooping and hollering over justice for the police killing this white man, his family just cut a check and hey, that's it. And the taxpayers, again, always foot the bill. And that was kind of like my gripe with Black Lives Matter because my wife and I and a few other family members, you know, we actually went to a Black Lives Matter convention or whatever. It's a local one by a local chapter. And we went out there, and I personally wanted to go because this was kind of where I guess it was in its height of, I guess, attraction and notoriety amongst the nation, and I wanted to see what it was all about for myself. So I went to a local chapter meeting, and I went there as Governor Wildstar with my mask on, you know, with my Guy Fawkes mask and all that, and had no problem walking into this room full of people with all of them staring at me and my family, you know, and we made ourselves comfortable, and they were actually quite inviting and very friendly, etc. And I made a seat. We listened to them talk about their platform. Huh?
Which chapter was it?
I'm not going to say because I don't want to put anybody on blast. You know what I'm saying? So we we just gonna leave it with little subtleties, you know, here for people to know. But yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want to speak negatively of Black Lives Matter or its members or any organizers, etc. If anything, I promote them to continue doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? The focus again needs to be more in a inclusionary type of way to where we can get everybody on board with understanding, like you said, why Black Lives Matter and how we can initiate this change to come about now without it dragging about. And in this,
Search for rights, man. You remember Cop Watch in Berkeley? Like they patrol the streets. Just like, I mean, shoot, just like you, man. When you see them doing you wrong, you assert yourself. You assert your right.
yeah.
You know you're right. And Cop Watch is important. Like, who watches the watches? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's like they expect a black man to not know his rights. And I'm at this Black Lives Matter meeting, and after them talking about their platform and them saying, you know, they want to push legislation for families to be compensated by the cops that does the killing. I'm like, that's not solving anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm listening to this, and at the end of it, they do a Q&A, and I stand up to ask one simple question, which is, could the name of Black Lives Matter be discriminatory where it makes other people that are from other races not want to get involved with promoting its cause? Oh my God, man. I started to get attacked left and right. And and this is just by the two organizers of the event. The crowd, which is predominantly white because we're in Orange County, is just silence because they're kind of feeling like in a rock and a hard place. You know what I'm saying? Because they are white people that want to get involved and help promote this agenda of stopping black people being killed by cops and targeted and profiled, etc. And again, they're feeling like, what do I do? You know, and they want to get involved. And it's sad because again, I'm seeing this of them, and I'm feeling like as a black person, this is how can we do this better and make them not feel like they're sidelined, so to speak. And one of the organizers, she called me a provocateur, and asked me if I was a FBI agent or with the police or all of this other stuff. And, she came over to me and she asked me to come outside. And we had this exchange where, she's telling me, she started to get black, and she's like, you one of them niggas, you know what I'm saying? I bet you dating a white girl and all of this other shit. I mean, like, actually, my wife is in there who's black. You know what I'm saying? And she's coming at me all sideways and shit. And again, I'm seeing another side of Black Lives Matter. And my whole thing is, you got to know who is behind the scenes. Nobody knows who George Soros is, and he's behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, dude, you a false prophet, And people putting you on a pedestal because it's sad because some stuff happened with her, and next thing you know, it became national, to where everybody's on board with trying to help her fight her cause, but when some shit go down with me or with you, we get arrested, thrown in jail. So we try to put out there, don't nothing happen. We're not going to be on TV because of that shit, But because of her affiliation and all of this other stuff, that kind of got her to clout. And it's sad because that's exactly what I was saying. Why is it that some Black Lives Matter opposed to all Black Lives Matter? And you're not even saying that as Black Lives Matter. So it's sad because, again, we're supposed to be pigeonholed as being black people. We're just supposed to jump on board. And I see myself as being a regular black person. I'm a new black, whatever you want to call it, Nubian, like you called it. And you are one as well, and even with the way that we look, with us both having locks in our hair, the assumption is that we're Rastafarian, and to all people out there, just because a black person has locks in their hair does not mean they're Rastafarian, okay? It does not mean that they all listen to reggae. It does not mean that they all sit around smoking weed all day, even though I do sit around smoking weed all day. So, but it's sad because these are some of the misconceptions, stereotypes perpetuated by a society that we as black people have to kind of just take, you know what I'm saying? So as you being one of those black men, how do you respond to that?
Respond to what?
Looking like how you look, being how you be, being different, and not being a typical black person, so to speak, quote unquote.
Right. Like, can't box me in. I don't fit in boxes. I'm a very, I'm more of a, I got a circle to me. So when they try to box me in, I'm like, there's more to me than what you allowing me to get in. So when it comes, I can box anybody when it comes to, you want to talk about reggae, we can talk about reggae. You want to talk about hip-hop, we can talk about hip-hop. I don't like country music, but if you want to talk about that shit, I'll put my culture to the side for a minute.
Right?
You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is, like, I don't fit in boxes. You say the word black, that's a big word right there. That's bigger than the blue earth that we're in. We're engulfed with blackness. We're engulfed with space. Neutral space is black. It's where creation comes from. It's where light comes out of. You can't go light speed without having dark speed already there because light speed has to penetrate black. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you want to go as fast as possible, learn how to be black. You know what I mean? So when there's ever a time that someone tries to box me in, I prove them wrong, man. I prove them wrong. I tell them that you pay attention, you wake the fuck up, and you respond to that in a way that is damn near throwing curveballs from the mound and say, you ain't hitting the home run on me.
Right, right. I like that. I like that. Man, that's a good way to kind of word things and put it into perspective. So, yeah, and also with you being involved into activism, I mean, just us being black people and being involved into activism the way that we are, is another way that we're kind of frowned upon and pigeonholed, etc., and being, political, etc. So, it's sad because again, we look at the world around us. I mean, just look at our new president. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to not act like or talk about what's going on in our world. We're only supposed to be limited to certain conversations, and it's sad because again, that is not only the perspective of white America, but that is the perspective of black America too. You try to talk to these and talk about other black people with about these things, and sometimes you get blown off. You know what I'm saying? Or overshadowed, overtalked, or oh, I don't want to talk about that political shit, or whatever. So it's just sad because I feel like we as black people kind of need to be more embracing of each other, especially other black people.
Especially within the era that we're in, because remember when we had that conversation of how blunt it is right now, how blunt the hatred is, the bigotry?
Yeah.
And so, like, right now, if we are beefing with each other, we're not paying attention to how blunt the hatred is already from other people. Like, other cultures are already aiming at you, and they're growing their power because it's their last hoorah. You know what I mean? It's their last cry for white supremacy right now. And if black folks hate black folks right now, you know what I mean? You're asleep, man. You're asleep at the prime time of a spiritual awakening, at the time of a mental revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Right now is the time not to beef with each other, because we have a battle to finish right now, and all we got to do is kill it off.
Right.
It's at its last leg right now, and they're hobbling, and they're scared too. They're scared because they're not used to in what 400 years. In 400 years, the reign hasn't been passed.
Right.
The reign is becoming passed in multiple directions. It's being passed to women. You know what I mean? It's coming back to women. It's coming back to black folks. It's coming back to Native Americans. It's coming back to the environment. You know what I mean? It's coming back to those Hispanics. And right now, it's not time to beef with each other. It's time to take down the last leg of the system that is meant to oppress other people, to make sure that certain people, wealthy ones, because I'm not taking the rednecks out of this conversation acting like they're not a part of us too, because they became the overseers later on.
Right.
They want by our side. And all I'm saying is that it's not time to beef with each other. And if those white folks are out there that got love for people that they may see as different from them, man, that's just more of a plus. And it is time to just conquer the rest of this. This is the last quarter of what it takes to build something that never was great and make it beautiful.
Wow. I'm telling you, because America, talking about make America great again, when was it ever great? Because it was always going through a period of demise, a period of turmoil, a period of strife. You know what I'm saying? As much as you want to think things were great, in actuality and factually, they were not.
From the perspective of those boats coming over, when we gotta put this in chronological
Oh, yeah,
order.
yeah. That was great. You know what I'm saying? For which America, though? It wasn't for black America. It wasn't for Latin America. It wasn't for Native America. You know, but it sure was great for white America. And I think that's
Think about it, that when the natives were here on their own land, that's what you got to think about being great if you're going to go back to great.
yeah. And you know what?
Natives' voice saying make America great again.
And
Bigotry, man.
right, I gotta be honest, man. It's sad because it's like white America doesn't want to swallow its own pill, which is what Papadopoulos actually said recently. You know, the coach of the Spurs. What's his name? Popovich.
So, Popovich,
Yeah, he said white America has a problem with race because they don't want to accept the fact that they are in control. White supremacy is the world, is the America that we live in. That's why we got a problem with looking at Black America, looking at Latin America, looking at Asian America, looking at America as it is, as the melting pot as it is, and embracing it as a whole. You know, we're too busy segregating it instead of saying, you know what, it is what it is. You know, America is great because it is everyone fighting for the same thing, which is freedom. And right now, we are not free. Even my wife played a song for Katy Perry recently for me. And in the song, she says, we are not free. Okay?
Katy Perry knows this?
Katy Perry knows this. So why you got Katy Perry saying it in the song that we are not free? So what are we really fighting for? And yeah, in the whole song, she's talking about us living in a world where we're just brainwashed and, you know, just ignoring it, just dance the night away. You know, everything's okay when really the world is in trouble, you know? So now, this is Katy Perry, a white chick, saying this. You know what I'm saying? But so it's like it's being said, it's being screamed out on all corners of the world, and the only people that really want to fight it is the people that are still battling with ego. You know what I'm saying? That's really what I see it as being. So even you yourself, you are doing your best to break outside of that ego and show people the other sides of what is, you know, and people out there, so you should know, as well as being an MC, Mr. Jai is also an artist, and he paints, and he is a designer as well. He makes clothing with his paintings, and tell us a little bit about that and where the people can find your paintings and shirts and clothing, etc.
Yeah, man. Honestly, man, I be running on the street through market, man. But I have art shows throughout Orange County. If you Google a royalty shop, you can find it on Etsy. And you can find me through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Jai Almighty on Twitter. I be making people a little bit like bent out of shape on that shit.
Whatever. Hey, if Trump can do it, you can do it. Jai Almighty all day.
Yeah, man, it's all love. It's all love at the end of the day, man. There's propaganda out there that gets fed to people like it comes from the Book of Christ.
Right. You got to do your own counter propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Hey, even one of your shirts is counter propaganda. I want to talk about it because it's a bit controversial as well. You got a shirt out there that's based on Brother Luke Cage, the TV show, who is a black superhero, who is, I guess, akin to Superman with them being bulletproof and, you know, having super strength, all of that good stuff. But, yeah, this shirt that you made is called Bulletproof, and it's actually reminiscent of one of the television episodes of Luke Cage where he gets shot up and his hoodie is riddled with bullets, and I think in that episode he gives it to Method Man or something, and like everybody start wearing these these hoodies with, bullets in them, and it was brilliant. I'm thinking, so Brother John John takes it upon himself to says, hey, I'm going to do something like that. And he paints this painting of that and turns it into a T-shirt. And some things happened with that shirt. You want to tell the world what happened?
What happened with the shirt? Well, what happened with the shirt? I mean, I made the shirt, but oh man, you know what? It's not even the shirt exactly. What happened is the concept of it in general. Because what was it called? Walmart made it. The police complained to Walmart saying it was disrespecting the police to sell bulletproof the bulletproof hoodie.
Right.
It was disrespecting the police. And then Amazon, which I wanted to put my shirt up on, the police were attacking them. The Department of, I don't know, whatever police got a whole society over. But yeah, they were trying to attack Amazon too and tell them not to sell that too. And I'm like, damn man, I just painted this shirt.
Right. Shit.
All they said it was disrespectful to the police to have bulletproof, which are the hoodie riddled ones, and which is ironically the name and concept of the shirt that I just produced. So before it ever hit the market, it became controversial on the level of if you're a black man and bullets can't penetrate you, being disrespectful to the police.
Right.
Now, that's an interesting concept.
And you know what's crazy is what happened to freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a designer, you would think you should be able to create whatever type of clothing that you would like because there will be someone out there that will buy that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I see clothing that where I'm like, that shit look crazy. And they're walking down the catwalk in this, and it's some major designer. And I'm like, nobody's ever going to wear that shit walking down the street, But they're entitled to the freedom of expressing themselves. And it seems like, again, the discrimination comes in when the view or perspective is skewed and we're told to behave a certain way. And who is the one dictating that? You know what I'm saying? Because if I would tell you one thing, if it was me and I was in charge, there would be no dictation of. You see the difference? You see? So I'm thinking that the person that is in charge is not somebody like me, For sure. I mean, that's just one of the things that I just gotta take in as truth of the matter. But wrapping things up really quickly, talking about music and all of this stuff. Like I said, Brother Jaja is an MC, and he is recording music with me, yours truly, Brother Q Ball, a.k.a. Governor Wildstar, and that's me. And I appreciate you jumping on the microphone with me. And I look forward to doing much more music with you. And the tracks we've recorded so far, I kind of feel like will turn up the heat on the revolution and kind of give it a bit of a soundtrack, a much needed soundtrack, because I listen to the music out there that kind of is, I guess, promoting these changes that we're promoting in our music. And it's commercialized, it's watered down, and there's a way to make it mainstream, but still make it attractive to the ear. And I feel like you and I are definitely. What's that?
I said you and T.I. found that out.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's up to you and I to tap into that energy now, man. And we are definitely sharing it with the world. So. What is it about music that makes you want to do that? And the song that we recorded together, Doomsday, what that meant to you?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, when I say that Jill Scott Heron is my spiritual guidance. You know, he was doing that. And if you don't know what that is, for listening, you know, the slogan, the revolution won't be televised.
The revolution.
Yeah. But, you know, Doomsday was, at the end of the track, it says, Doomsday Dawn. You know, I'm not a line like Jill Stein, your Superman died. The people, they still rise. The people, they will rise. Right about time, we united worldwide. Shine before highs, the poor do no crime. It's crime to be poor. See them bird seeds laugh as they pick them off the floor. You say you want more, stick it out, kinfolk. The signs of war. You know what I mean? So when at the end of the day, we out here fighting for $15 an hour. Well, you got the wealthy up there making sure that their politics are in line to keep them wealthy.
Right.
When they're at their last leg, man, and we're about at that point. We're about at that point, man.
Oh yeah, it's a precipice of revolution, and you know, and that's what I feel like Doomsday was all about, was, you know, letting people know the worst of the worst is behind us. You know what I'm saying? The time is now for what we need to do, and that's to bring about the change that we demand, that we want. And we have to be proactive about doing such, you know, and it takes direct action to do so. And that is one of the reasons why, you know, I'm taking it upon myself to get involved with politics and, you know, run for office, because I feel like we the people kind of need to be hands-on with leadership, with our revolution, you know? And the people back during the 1770s, you know, when the American Revolution happened, they didn't wait to go through the political, you know, aims to kind of bring it about. They grabbed a gun, they grabbed a pitchfork, you know, they grabbed a torch, and they hit the streets. And it seems... it's like that sentiment of wanting that change and demanding that change has been lost, you know, and I'm completely about that. Just so people know, when it comes to, you know, getting rid of our government, a government overthrow, this is it. This is how we're going to do it, you know, is bringing about that change peacefully. You know, we can go in there and we can do it civilly. And we can do so with our minds and with our people power, our gathering of the masses, you know. And John and I are definitely attempting to do that. And we created this song called Doomsday. I'm going to play that actually for you guys right now. But first, before I do so, I just want to thank my very special guest, my brother, my friend, you know, my brother from another mother, light brother here from afar, here to take over the world with me, rapper, painter, poet, designer, my brother Jai. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man, much love, and same to you and yours, man.
Hey, thank you. You're a great inspiration to me, and I love you very much, and thank you for being a part of my life and for being a part of this moment to share this discussion with the world. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of today's show, episode 2 of Under the Light with Governor Wildstar and my guest, Jai. I'm going to end the show by playing our song together, Doomsday, and here it is. So, want to say peace out to the people, Jai?
Yeah, man, peace, much love, keep it real, stick tight to each other, raise that family, and look into those other cultures, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, much love to all of you out there. And again, here is Doomsday with Cue Ball and Jai. Red flag.
What?
Blue flag.
What?
It don't matter.
Cue Ball.
It don't matter.
What? Jai.
It don't matter.
It's Doomsday.
What matters?
Wonder why,
yeah. The hour of the reckoning is beckoning. Put down everything and jump up in the ring. This is your moment and you know it. You've been waiting for it. Now it's time to step in front of the world and show it. Into the last round in the fight for your life. And be reborn as you're born in a new life. Warrior, rebel with the cause. As much as I like the cause, no one takes a minute to just think and pause. Okay, we're dying for nothing, but got a big problem with dying for something. Dumping on the homie and starting to sing phony. When the mayor roaming to ride me like a pony. Sony couldn't make a better picture, my brother. They coming with Agenda 21, my brother. Lord forgive me for the contradiction, but these niggas out here ain't trying to pay attention now. Everybody rise up. Worldwide, it's time to line up. Everyone now put your fist up. And refuse to ever give up.
Don't give up.
Cause no matter what the TV say, this ain't the game that we don't play. Doomsday has come and gone. Now we the people gotta right the wrong.
See, Michelle said when they go low, we go high. Drones drop bombs from the sky. I see a long line with the third eye blind. I pointed to the side. Did you read the other signs? See my brothers die. I mean, I seen the badge win. I seen the TV line analyze the situation. These posers in the nation with cold discrimination. Gives a fuck about Nathan, but these bitches in a blunt, crabs in the bucket. Not a lunch, cuz I can pay for it. The doomsday done out of line like Jill Stein. Yeah, Superman died, but the people will rise. The people will ride. Right about time we ignite it worldwide. Shine before hide. The poor do no crime. It's crime to be poor. You feed them bird seeds and you laugh as they pick it off the floor. And you say you want more.
Everybody rise up. Worldwide, it's time to line up. Everyone now put your fist up. And refuse to ever give up.
Don't give up.
Cause no matter what the TV say, this ain't the game that we don't play. Doomsday has come and gone. Now we the people gotta right the wrong. Are you ready for liberation? Feel the sensation taking you over, though you don't know the combination. Causing devastation, unlocking every code on. Get your flip mode on. Puzzle pieces fall in place like Voltron. Gotta be the type that'll leap into action instead of standing around waiting till they get cracking. Now silence the dissidents, and you always deal with the remnants. Children of the Matrix, here to bring about a new wave face shift. Lifting up the veil, removing darkness. Putting a little bit of love in the hot list. So the people of the underworld meet us in the middle world. And together we move up out into the outer world. Everybody rise up. Worldwide, it's time to line up. Everyone now put your fist up. And refuse to ever give up.
Don't give up.
Cause no matter what the TV say, this ain't the game that we don't play. Doomsday has come and gone. Now we the people gotta right the wrong. Everybody rise up. Worldwide, it's time to line up. Everyone now put your fist up. And refuse to ever give up.
Don't give up.
Cause no matter what the TV say, this ain't the game that we don't play. Doomsday has come and gone. Now we the people gotta right the wrong. The revolution will not be televised unless you wise enough to open up your third eye. You gotta read between the lines, read between the lines. You gotta read between the lines, read between the lines. The revolution is now being televised. It's time to start tuning in and open up your mind. You gotta see between the lines, see between the lines. You gotta see between the lines, see between the lines.